ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So today we will stop the class 5 minutes early because I have to go down for my dinner. Okay. So we will start. So we are in the 6th mantra, right? So we will chant the mantra and also the bhashyam and then continue the discussion. Okay. Yat tat adreshyam
Yat tat adresham
agrahyam
agrahyam
agotram
agotram
avarnam
avarnam
achakshusrotram
achakshusrotram
tadapanipadam
tadapanipadam
nityam vibhum
nityam vibhum
sarvagatam
sarvagatam
susukshmam
susukshmam
tadavyayam
tadavyayam
yadbhutayonim
yadbhutayonim
paripashyanti dhiraah.
paripashyanti dhiraah.
Good. Now we will chant the bhashyam. Vakshamanam buddhau samhritya siddhavat paramrishyate yattat iti adreshyam adrishyam sarvesham buddhi indriyanam agamyam ityetat drisherbahiः pravrittasya panchendriyadvarakatvat agrahyam
अग्राह्यम्
कर्मेन्द्रिया विषयम् इत्येतत्
कर्मेन्द्रिया विषयमित्येतत्
अगोत्रम्
अगोत्रम्
गोत्रम् अन्वयः
गोत्रमन्वयः
मूलम् इत्यनर्थान्तरम्
मूलमित्यान्तान्तरम्
अगोत्रम्
अगोत्रम्
अनन्वयम्
अनन्वयम्
इत्यर्थः
इत्यर्थः
न हि तस्य
न हि तस्य
मूलमस्ति
मूलमस्ति
येनान्वितं स्यात्
येन अन्वितं स्यात्
अवर्णम्
अवर्णम्
वर्ण्यन्ते इति वर्णाः
वर्ण्यन्ते इति वर्णाः
द्रव्यधर्माः
द्रव्यधर्माः
स्थूलत्वादयः
स्थूलत्वादयः
शुक्लत्वादयो वा.
शुक्लत्वादयो वा.
Up to this, we have chanted in the last class also. So we will take the remaining bhashyam after we finish the discussion on this. Okay. So here, Bhashyakara starts the bhashyam with a clarification of a grammatical point relating to the use of pronouns yat and tat. Since the pronouns qualify the nouns, generally the noun is used first in a sentence, and then instead of repeating the nouns, the pronouns are used. But here, the mantra starts with the pronouns yat and tat, without any noun preceding these pronouns. So this could be pointed out as a defect by the grammarians. A defect in the Upanishad. Even a grammatical error can render the whole Upanishad invalid. And therefore, anticipating such a risk, Bhashyakara clarifies that it is not always necessary that a noun should precede the use of pronouns. If it is the intention of the writer to bring in the noun later in the sentence. So he says, Buddhau samhritya siddhavat. Having kept in the mind what is going to be stated, as though the prior use of the noun has already been established. The pronouns are used in the beginning of the sentence. We saw a couple of examples in the last class. Another example is, suppose somebody wants to say something and he or she starts with, I will tell you this. Tell you this means what? This means what he is going to tell. And this is a pronoun. So even though he has not talked about anything, still he will use the word this. And then he will go on to say what he wants to say, the subject matter. And therefore, it is not always necessary that a noun should precede a pronoun. Of course, when we hear all this, they may all seem very trivial to us. It's what is the so big thing about it? But remember, Bhashyakara is writing a commentary on the Upanishad, which is the highest knowledge. And before him and after him, there have been and there will be many scholars who will pick up each word in the mantra and also bhashyam to point out some defect. Then they will say the whole thing is invalid. So anticipating such an attempt, Bhashyakara is very careful in going into such details so that the objections are nipped in the bud itself. Of course, Bhashyakara could have taken an easy route by stating that these pronouns yat and tat refer to Akshara Brahman, which has already been mentioned in the previous mantra. So the use of yat and tat is not wrong. He could have argued that. But he doesn't do that because he wants to establish that it is not always necessary that noun should precede the pronouns. And being an authority on Sanskrit language, also, he sets this rule that if what is going to be told is already known, if what is going to be stated is kept in mind, the pronouns can be used prior to the use of nouns in a sentence. If you are a Sanskrit student and you attempt a essay and all in Sanskrit in some examination or even otherwise, these are all very important things to keep in mind. So after this, he takes up the first adjective in the mantra, describing the Akshara Brahman, which is Adreshyam. As I said, Adreshyam is Chandasa Prayoga. And as per Sanskrit grammar, the word should be Adrishyam, which means invisible. And Bhashyakara explains this word as Sarvesham Buddhi Indriyanam Agamyam. Agamyam means inaccessible, unavailable. Inaccessible to what? Sarvesham Buddhi Indriyanam. All organs of perception or all organs of knowledge. Here, the word Buddhi stands for knowledge, jnana. In other words, we can say Sarvesham Jnanendriyanam Agamyam. Here again, the Purva Pakshi is waiting to pounce upon Bhashyakara with his objection. The objection is that the word Adrishyam should mean not available for perception through the eyes. So on what basis is Bhashyakara extending the meaning to all the sense organs also? This will be the objection. For this objection, Bhashyakara gives an involved explanation, which we discussed in the last class, which I am sure most of you would have found challenging to absorb. We discussed two answers. One is here, sight perception is a upalakshana, a representative word for all sense organs. So that way the explanation is justified. Then I also explained how Bhashyakara is dealing with the meaning of the word drishyam. The verbal root drish, from which the word drishyam is derived, has got two meanings. One meaning is seeing, viewing, perceiving, and another meaning is there discerning and knowing. So if we take the second meaning of discerning and knowing, the meaning of the word drishyam can be extended to all organs of perception, all sense organs, and not only the organ of sight. That's why I say, so much of Sanskrit grammar is involved in when you study the Bhashya. When you study the Moolam, all these points will not be there. So using this interpretation, Bhashyakara explains how knowledge takes place through the sense organs. Because the physical eyes, ears, nose, etc., which are there in our face, do not have any power of their own for perception. They cannot be called indriyams, faculties. As we have seen in Tattva Bodha itself, they are called golakam, mere instruments, appendages, which have no power of their own. It is the faculties which are inner instruments forming part of the Sukshma Sharira, which provide the ability for the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the nose to smell, etc. Those faculties are called indriyams. So, if you got any doubt, please refer to your Tattva Bodha notes, or you can go through the video recordings of Tattva Bodha which I had circulated. Then you will be familiar with all these terminologies, Golakam, Indriyam, etc. So now our conclusion is that the Indriyams which provide the ability to the Golakams to gain knowledge of different objects. So Golakam have no power. The Indriyams, the faculties, they provide the power or the ability to the Golakams. But these Indriyams are also Jadam, they are insentient. And therefore, they have to be powered by consciousness for them to operate. And that consciousness in the individual is called Atma. Therefore, when we talk of perception or gaining knowledge through the sense organs, three entities are involved: Golakam, Indriyam, and Atma consciousness, which provides sentiency to Indriyam for them to supply the power to Golakams. I hope up to this point, the process of how knowledge happens is clear. But from a Vedanta angle, we run into a slight problem here. When we say that at the individual level, the Atma or consciousness is making the Indriyam sentient, then there could be a misunderstanding that each individual, each jiva has got an Atma, and that Atma is providing sentiency to the Indriyam of that individual. If such an understanding prevails, then it would mean that each jiva has an Atma, and there are as many Atmas as there are jivas. And therefore, the non-dual characteristic of Atma will be negated. Advaitam will be negated. I am explaining all this to make you all understand the angle from which Bhashyakara is dealing with this issue. Of course, he does not go into all this detailed explanation, but he assumes that we have all studied Tattva Bodha and also remember what he said there. And in order to establish that Atma or Brahman is non-dual, we give the example of original consciousness and reflected consciousness. And I explained that original consciousness is called Brahman, which is at the macro level, and the reflected consciousness is at the individual level, is called Chidabhasa. And therefore, if we go by the linear thinking, we would have taken the meaning of Drishyam as seeing or viewing. But here Bhashyakara does not go by linear thinking, but he exhibits lateral thinking. And the grammar allows for that rather. Therefore, even though Adrishyam is derived from the verbal root drish, which literally means to see or to look, here Bhashyakara is taking the extended meaning of to see, which can also mean to know. For example, when we say something to someone, we ask, do you see my point? Which means what? You are just verbally spoken. There is nothing to be seen for by the eyes. So when we say, do you see my point? It means, did you understand what I am saying? So Bhashyakara interprets Adreshyam as not available for Chidabhasa going through the five organ, 5 gates rather, instead of the normal meaning of not available for sight. And therefore he says, Buddhi Indriyanam Agamyam Panchendriya Dwarakatvat. Through the 5 golakams, the 5 gates. So the word Adreshyam has to be understood in this manner. Next he says Agrahyam. Agrahyam means karmendriya vishayam ityetat. The word grahyam means graspable, which we can hold, grasp. Agrahyam means not graspable. And here, grasp also has got 2 meanings, even in English. Grasp means catch hold of something, that is grasping. And the other grasping meaning is perceiving, understanding. Did you grasp what I taught in the class? Isn't it? It's a very common expression. So grasp has got both the meanings. Here we are using the word grasping in the sense of action of catching, action of holding something. And agrahyam literally means akshara tattvam cannot be caught, cannot be held by the hand. So it is not available for the hands to be held. And here also, it is upalakshana. So hastendriya stands for all other organs of action. And therefore he says karmendriya vishayam. So here Bhagavan Bhashyakara makes it very simple. He does not go by how he interpreted Adreshyam as Drishehi Pravrittasya, etc. Here he simply says Drishya by Pravritta, something like that, simple. Karmendriya Avishayam. It is not available for organ of hand, organ of holding. And by being a representative word, finally it will mean not an object of organs of action. We have got Pancha Karmendriyas. So it is not an object of organs of action. Means it is not available to be held, to be caught, to be reached at, to be talked about as a Vachyartha. Not available. And therefore Agrahyam. So in the previous word Adreshyam, it was said it is not available for organs of perception. Here it is said that it is not available for organs of action. And by saying this, it is conveyed that this Akshara Brahman is not an object to be reached at. It is not a place. If it is a place, then it will be a Padendriya Vishayam. You can talk or you can walk towards that. It is not an Astendriya Vishayam which cannot be, which can be caught hold of. Therefore, Karmendriya Avishayam is don't look for Brahman as an object to be reached at. The object to be caught or caught hold of. So, Brahman is not an object. Now the next one. Agotram. He says, Agotram, Gotram Anvayah Moolam Anartantaram. Agotram means that which does not have a Gotra. We have seen in one, I think, second or third mantra, what is meant by Gotra. Gotra means lineage. And also it implies the root. The first person who started that particular lineage. So the word Gotra has got the meaning lineage and also the root. So Brahman is not having any lineage, and this Brahman is not having the Gotra, means Brahman is not born of something or someone. Brahman is not having a cause. Brahman is unborn. So Bhashyakara first he explains the Gotram. He says, Gotram Anvaya Moolam iti. All these words he says are Anarthantaram. Anarthantaram means are synonyms. Gotram, this family. Anvaya, lineage. Moolam, root. Iti, in this manner. All these words are Anarthantaram, are synonyms. Means they are all conveying the same idea in this context. Even though individually they have some different shades of meaning, but in this context, all three mean the same. So when we want to say all words given here mean the same, one expression is anarthantaram, synonyms. They do not have another meaning. Like in Sanskrit, we have got words like jalam, apaha, udagam, etc. All are synonyms for water. So he says agotram ananvayam ityartaha. Ityartaha means this is the meaning. So agotram, not having gotra, means ananvayam, not having anvayam, lineage. And why Brahman does not have lineage? That Bhashyakara explains. Nahi tasya moolamasti enanvitam syat. He means because. Because tasya moolam na asti, it does not have a root. Brahman does not have a moola purusha, an originator. Like we saw, Bhargava Gotra people will have Bhrigu Rishi as moolam. Bharadwaja Gotra people will have Bharadwaja Rishi as their moolam. So here tasya refers to Brahman. Moolam na asti, it does not have moolam, the root. Yena, with which or with whom. Anvitam syat means can be connected. So if Brahman does not, that Brahman had some root, any main person, the original ancestor, he could have been connected to that root. So Brahman does not have any root. Brahman cannot be connected to any lineage. Brahman itself is the root of everything. Brahman is karana rahitam. Akarana karanam. Therefore agotram. Then the next one he says is avarnam. What is varnam? The popular meaning, the vachyartha of varnam is color. Shyama varna, shukla varna, etc. So varna means color. So Brahman is avarnam means Brahman does not have any color. Brahman is not white, blue, yellow, etc. It is important to state this because otherwise people have this complex, isn't it? I am very fair complexion, so I am superior. I want a daughter-in-law who is fair complexion. So and so is dark complexioned, and so is inferior, etc. These are all the orientation which we have got. I don't know where it started. Probably all this started after the English people ruled over us for more than 200 years. It's very unfortunate that through the world, many people attach a great value to fair complexion and they look down upon people who are dark complexioned. Big issue in America. You can't call a black a black. And that is why, because of this so called superiority of this fair complexion, a whole section of cosmetic industry thrives on this. They have creams like Fair and Lovely, and it is rumored that a famous singer, Michael Jackson, he indulged in some skin lightening practices. And strangely, the reverse also happens. And the irony is, in the West, some white skinned people have got a value for looking dark. In India, there is, that's why, they go to the beaches and have a tan, these white people. In India, there is a great value for looking fair. And you try to look as fair with all creams, talcum powders, etc. Anyway, so the irony is when you have white skin, you want to look dark. When you have got dark skin, you want to look white. All this Maya Devi's work. But fortunately, Brahman does not have any such problem. He has no skin. And therefore, the question of whether fair complexion or dark complexions does not arise. So, Brahman is avarnam. Brahman is sarva varna rahita, free from all colors. This is one meaning. Another meaning is any quality like short, tall, fat, lean. All qualities are also called varna. So the word varna has got two meanings. One popular meaning is color, other meaning is all qualities. And in fact, when we actually talk about the four varnas, varnashrama system, the varna there refers to the qualities, not physical appearance or physical lineage. So, qualities is another meaning, popular meaning of the word varna. And Bhashyakara says if we take that meaning also, Brahman is free from all qualities. So avarnam will finally mean nirgunam. And that is what is said here by Bhashyakara. Varnyante iti varnaha. He gives the derivation of the word varna. Varna dhatu is there. Varna means to describe. So varnyante iti varna means those qualities which are described are called varna. And Bhashyakara explains as dravya dharma hai. The qualities of any substance is called dravya dharma. So varna hai is equal to dravya dharma hai, the qualities of substance. Like what? He says stulatvadaya. Stulatvadaya means stulatva, etc. Grossness. Adaya means will include subtleness, bigness, smallness, etc. All these are called dravya dharma. Then Bhashyakara also takes the popular meaning Shuklatvadayo va. Va means or. Shuklatva, whiteness, white color, etc. Adaya will include black color, yellow color, blue color, red color. So both meanings can be taken for avarnam. That which is not having varna, that is the means, that means not having grossness, subtleness, etc., the qualities of a substance, or not having color like white, black, etc. So Bhashyakara sums up the meaning of avarna as avidyamanam varnaha yasya tad avarnam aksharam. Yasya, that for which varnaha, the colors or qualities, avidyamanaha are absent. Tad, that is avarnam, colorless or attributeless. And what is that? He says aksharam. So Bhashyakara is now reminding us, don't get lost in all these details. Remember always we are talking about Aksharam Brahman. So Aksharam, the imperishable reality, otherwise called Brahman, is avarnam, colorless and attributeless. And as I said, we can take another meaning also for Varna, as I said, social class, Varnashrama system. A social class is also called Varna, Brahmana.
Voice breaking, sir. Guruji.
Breaking.
Voice is breaking.
Till avarnam, colorless, attributeless, you heard?
Yes,
From where did the voice break?
just a few moments back.
Okay. So I will switch off the video. So avarnam as colorless and attributeless is okay? Is understood?
Yes.
Yes, Guruji.
Okay. So as I said, we can take another meaning also, social class. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Brahman, Akshara Tattvam is not falling in any of these four categories. It is neither Brahmana, nor Vaishya, nor Kshatriya, nor Shudra. It is not having any Varna. So I, Atma, am not Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. I am what? I am Sarva Varnatitaha. Sarva Varnatitaha. I don't belong to any Varna. So avidyamana Varna yasya tad avarnam aksharam. Was it clear now?
Clear.
Okay. Now the next one. I think we have not read this, is it? No, we have read the whole thing, but next one is Achakshu Srotram. Bhashyakara gives the derivation and says, Chakshushta Srotram cha Nama Rupa Vishaye Karane Sarva Jantunam Te Avidyamane Yasya Tat Achakshu Srotram. The simple meaning of this sentence is, that for which the eyes and ears are not there is called Achakshu Srotram. The one which is without eyes and ears. This is the meaning. So Akshara Brahman is not having the eyes nor having the ears. And Bhashyakara is explaining this by Samasa Vigraha. Relevant only for Sanskrit students. Others may wonder, what is this Samasa Vigraha? Nothing to do with samosa that we eat. It's a grammatical usage, the grammatical Sanskrit grammar usage rather. Because Chakshu Srotram is a compound. The compound word which is called a samasa. Compound words are called samasa. So when you come across a samasa, a compound word, you have to split that word so that each word becomes meaningful. And here he says how that compound word is derived. And while giving the samasa vigraha, he gives some additional details about what is chakshusrotram. We all know that chakshusrotram means eyes. Chakshu means eyes and srotram means the ear. These meanings are very well known to us. So we wonder why Bhashyakara is explaining this. You must remember, Bhashyakara will never state anything without a purpose. And therefore, he is defining what is the meaning of the eyes and ears here in this context. He says, chakshuscha srotram cha nama rupa vishaye karane. He says, chakshuhu and srotram, they are eyes and ears. They are karane, they are instruments. Instruments for whom? Sarvajantu nam, for all living beings. So here all living beings is referring mainly to human beings and all other living beings which have got eyes and ears. So karane means instruments. And this karane, this instrument is for nama rupa vishaye, dealing with vishaya. Vishaya is in the sense of dealing with nama and rupa, name and form. So the eyes and ears are the instruments for knowing or instruments dealing with name and form, because the whole world is name and form only. The name is dealt with by Srotra and Rupa form is dealt with by Chakshu. Therefore, he says Nama Rupa Vishaye Karane. So, Bhashyakara is saying Chakshu Srotam are instruments which are having their objects in the form of name and form. Name means what? All nouns. Noun means a word. Word is the Vishaya, the object of the ears. And the form means a configuration. And that is the object of the eyes. Therefore, Nama Rupa Vishaye Karane. The eyes and ears are those instruments for which name and form are the objects. It means they are dealing with name and form. And this belongs to Sarva Bhutanam, all living beings. And te, these two instruments, avidyamane, are absent. Yasya, for whom or for which. Tat, that Akshara Brahma is Achakshusrotram. That Akshara Brahma is free from eyes and ears. The one for which eyes and ears are avidyamana, absent. And what the eyes and ears? What are the eyes and ears? They are the instruments for objectifying the names and forms. So Chakshusrotram, which are there for all living beings and which are dealing with name and form, are absent for whom that Akshara Brahman is called Achakshusrotram. So Brahman does not have eyes and ears. So we can extend this further. Brahman is not Pramata. Pramata is the one who knows through the Shrotra, the Indriyas. Sat Pramatrikvam, knowership through the eyes and ears is not there. So Brahman is not like a person who has got eyes and ears which serve as the sense organs for gaining knowledge. Now, when we go through this, we understand why Bhashyakara took a different route for Adrishyam. Because if we had taken Adrishyam as sight, which is the function of the eyes, then here again Chakshu is mentioned. So there will be repetition, which is a defect. And if we had done that, the Purva Pakshi will say, no, there's a defect. You have already, same idea is being given twice. And that is why there itself, Bhashyakara, knowing what is coming, he took the meaning of Adrishyam differently. The second meaning of the Dhatu Drish. So when we read all these things, how Bhashyakara's mind works, we come to know. And now, after saying this, Bhashyakara is answering a possible doubt. And which is what I just now said. Why it is said that Brahman does not have eyes and ears? Because such a possibility doesn't arise. We have not talked about Brahman as a person. So why are you emphasizing that Brahman does not have eyes and ears? Because there is a rule. Prasaktasya pratishedaha. There's a rule in the Shastra. Prasaktam means possible. If something is possible but not there, then you have to do nishedha. So prasaktasya pratishedah means negation of what is possible. When the possibility of eyes and ears are there but not there, then negation makes sense. When there is no possibility of eyes and ears being there, then why state the obvious? Why are you negating? What is the necessity for negating in this manner? This is the objection which can be raised. And Bhashyakara deals with such a possible doubt and he says, Yah sarvajnah sarvavit ityadi chetanavatva visheshanatvat praptam samsarinam iva chakshusrotradibihi karanaihi arthasadhagatvam. Because Yah sarvajnah sarvavit is a mantra. It's the 9th mantra we will see in this Undaka itself, in this Kanda itself. So he says later on, Yah Sarvanya Sarvavit mantra is going to come. And he says that such a negation is necessary here because the Upanishad, will later say that Brahman is Sarvajnaha, Brahman is Sarvavit. And therefore, people may think that as a person has got knowership, and the knowership is accompanied by having eyes and ears. Yatra yatra jnatritvam tatra tatra chakshuraditvamatvam. That is the logic. You can know only through your eyes and ears or panchendriyas rather, pancha jnanendriyas. So Brahman has this jnatritvam because he is knowing all. And therefore, one may imagine that perhaps Brahman has many eyes and ears. With one pair of eyes and ears, we know a little bit. But Brahman being Sarvajna and Sarvaved, one may think that it will need to have many eyes and many ears, through which Brahman is knowing everything. And therefore, Shastra has to negate. And that Brahman is Achakshusrotram. And this idea he gives in this sentence. Yah sarvajnah sarvavet ityadi chetanavatva visheshanatvat. So Bhashyakara says in the Mundaka Upanishad itself, in this chapter itself, In the 9th mantra, it will be said, Yah Sarvang Yah Sarvavit. One who knows everything in general and one who knows everything specifically. Ityadi, etc. Chetanavatva Visheshanatvad. In this manner, Brahman is presented having this Visheshana, this attribution of having Chetanavatva, having knowership. So here, Chetanavatva means having the sentiency or having knowership. So Brahman is presented as someone who is having the knowership. And therefore, praptam means obtained or the fallout. What is the fallout? Fallout is in the form of arthasadhagatvam. Arthasadhagatvam means the status of being illuminator of the object. Artha prakashakatvam, revealing the object. The status of being a revealer of the objects. That is called arthasadhagatvam. Artha means the object. Arthasadhaka means revealer or illuminator. So Brahman attains the status of the revealer of the objects. How? Chakshusrotradibihi karnaihi. With the help of instruments such as the eye and ears, etc. Samsarinam iva. Like the individual jivas. So we find that the individuals have got knowership of the objects, the capacity to know the objects with the help of eyes and ears. So any given jiva having the knowership, he or she has got arthasadhagatvam. So two things we see. Jiva has got knowership and jiva has got eyes and ears. And we come to the logical conclusion that wherever there is knowership, there is the status of having the eyes and ears. And Brahman is said to be a knower of all. And therefore, Brahman must be having eyes and ears. And therefore, there is a possibility of such understanding. Such a possibility is praptam. And therefore, it is negated. That Brahman does not have eyes and ears, which has to be specifically stated. That's why he says, Tadiha achaktu srotramiti varyate. And therefore, tat means that. That refers to karanaihi arthasadhagatvam, revealing the objects with the help of eyes and ears, that is the sense organs. Iha in this mantra, varyate means negated. How? By the expression achakshusrotram, by specifically stating that Brahman is without eyes and ears. And this negation is also substantiated or is presented in other Shruti, which we will see in the next class. Okay, I'll continue there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Harihi Om.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी. नमस्ते. हरि ओम.
Namaste. Namaste.